Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I welcome our guests today. First, I'd just like to say that our friends in Australia and Britain ought to know that AUKUS enjoys very strong bipartisan support here in Congress. In fact, I can't think of a single member of Congress, whether they be Republican or Democrat, that doesn't support AUKUS, and at least the objectives of AUKUS. I think the question before the President and Congress right now is how to implement AUKUS quickly, also effectively, for everybody that's concerned. As part of the first submarine pillar, the administration has put forward a plan for the United States to sell and transfer some 3 to 5 nuclear-powered attack submarines to Australia starting in the early 2030s. But the administration still hasn't put forward a credible long-term plan to ensure that our Navy can meet its requirement to have 66 attack subs in a reasonable time frame. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a problem. Today, the Navy has 49 attack submarines. That's roughly 25% short of its goal of 66 submarines. The pace of making, as I've read, maybe 1.2 submarines a year, by giving these submarines to Australia, that'll put us 3 to 4 years behind in our production process. And looking at the Navy's most optimistic projection, they don't see realizing this goal of 66 attack subs until the year 2049. That's before taking into account the submarines that we would send to Australia. I understand that there's talk about maintenance being some type of fix for this, maybe extending the life of the submarines that we do have in service, but we're only at 75% of our goal right now in terms of how many submarines that we have. This is a Band-Aid fix. We've got to look at our capacity. There's no real substitute, I think, for having a strong industrial base to build these submarines and to meet our deterrence goals. And I'll start with you, Assistant Secretary Carlin. Do you agree or disagree with anything? Do you agree with what I said, or do you disagree in any way?
Senator, I really appreciate the points you made on the strategic importance of AUKUS, but also on the importance of our undersea capability. It is an unparalleled comparative advantage, and it is absolutely a priority. The National Defense Strategy underscores this as well. And the points I'm making on maintenance are in no way to ignore, to be clear, the importance of production as well. It's just that we are all working through Congress's really important support and through the administration's prioritization to build up an industrial base that, frankly, was not as strong as I think anyone would like it to be.
Speaking to that cooperation between the administration and Congress, I look forward to the President working with Congress to make the necessary hard choices and work through regular order to get this done. So we are prioritizing resources rather than coming to some sort of emergency situation. We need to do that in a way, we need to implement this in a way that AUKUS works to make both America first interest and our allies' interest first as well when it comes to nuclear-powered submarines. Next, I'd like to turn to Pillar 2, though. And that focuses, Pillar 2 focuses on trilateral cooperation, on advanced capabilities. Here, advanced capabilities includes undersea technologies, quantum technologies, artificial intelligence, and autonomous systems, advanced cyber, hypersonic, and counter-hypersonic capabilities, electronic warfare, information sharing. All of these are absolutely critical. And I want to make an important suggestion to you, and I'd be encouraged to hear your thoughts on this. You all know that I served as ambassador to Japan. I got to see firsthand Japan's superior capabilities when it comes to artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Our allies in South Korea also have similar strengths. And so my question, and I'll just put this to both Assistant Secretary Lewis and to Assistant Secretary Carlin, do you agree with me on the need to find ways to incorporate U.S. allies, such as Japan and South Korea, into the Pillar 2 activities down the line?
First of all, let me just thank you for your leadership on defense trade. We've had a lot of conversations, and I 100% agree with you on the bipartisan need and strength and consensus around these issues. To get to your question, I think in the first things first, we're really focused on getting this right for our UK and Australia. And I think then we can look at whether there may be other countries who need to bring capabilities for specific projects.
In my conversations, I can assure you they want to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I would echo what Assistant Secretary Lewis said. And once we get this right, we could look at discrete partners for discrete projects. Mm-hmm. I also want to thank you for your leadership on the U.S.-Japan alliance, which is flourishing in just extraordinary ways.
Well, thank you. And I just want to reiterate how important AUKUS is to our own national security interest. And I look forward to working with all of you, and I'm looking forward to working with the interagency to make certain we keep advancing this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.